Hello and welcome to Healthy Aging Blueprint. I'm truly grateful you're here. On this channel, we explore simple, powerful ways to care for your body, nurture your mind, and live with purpose at every stage of life. Wherever you're watching from, I wish you good health, peace, and lasting happiness. If you find value in today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a step on your journey to aging well. Have you ever looked around and realized no one really talks about what it feels like to be alone in your 70s or 80s? Do you wonder if happiness is still possible without friends, a partner, or a busy life? And what if being alone isn't a curse, but a quiet invitation to rediscover yourself? These are the honest, often unspoken thoughts many older adults carry as time moves on. Friendships drift, loved ones pass, and silence settles in where conversations once lived. But here's the truth most people overlook. Being alone doesn't mean you're destined to be unhappy. In fact, you can still live with joy, purpose, and peace on your own terms. In this video, we're exploring 5 powerful guides on how to be happy alone after 70. These aren't just feel-good suggestions. They're real, meaningful shifts that can help you feel grounded again, like you're waking up with direction, not just passing the time. Each one is designed to reignite something inside you: comfort, clarity, or maybe even a small but powerful spark of light. Be sure to stay with us until the very end, because the final guide might completely change how you view solitude. It could open the door to a richer, more fulfilling chapter of your life, starting today. Now, before we dive in, if you find this message meaningful, please like this video. It helps spread timeless wisdom to others on the same journey. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, then tap the bell so you won't miss the next one. If this video resonates with you, comment 1. If not, comment 0. Your feedback matters. Let's get started. Guide number 1. Create a meaningful daily routine. One of the most powerful ways to feel fulfilled while living alone, especially in your later years, is by creating a daily routine that brings you structure, stability, and a renewed sense of purpose. In our younger years, life usually sets the pace for us: work, parenting, social obligations, appointments. But as you age, especially when living alone, that structure often fades. And with it, so can your sense of direction. That's why crafting your own rhythm becomes essential. Something as simple as a morning ritual with tea and quiet reflection, or a consistent walk at the same time each day, can bring back a sense of grounding. It's not just about keeping busy. It's about honoring your time with intention. Sometimes mornings can feel unusually wide and undefined. You wake up in a quiet house, and there's no one calling your name, no pressing task waiting for your attention. At first, this kind of freedom might feel refreshing, even liberating. But over time, if there's no structure, that same freedom can begin to slowly drain your energy. You might start to feel adrift, as if your day has no clear anchor or purpose. That's why having a meaningful daily routine matters so much. It doesn't mean filling your calendar with constant appointments or chasing productivity from dawn till dusk. Rather, it's about creating a gentle, reliable framework that adds shape and flow to your day. Something as simple as knowing what your first step will be when you rise can bring comfort, a sense of clarity right from the moment you open your eyes.
Even if the steps you take are small, they still carry meaning. Maybe your morning begins with brewing a warm cup of coffee or tea, sitting quietly beside a window where the early sunlight drifts in. Or perhaps you spend 10 quiet minutes journaling your thoughts, reading a few pages of a cherished book, or stepping outside after lunch for a short walk, noticing the crispness of the air or the rustle of leaves beneath your feet. These may seem like simple rituals, but when done with intention, they create a quiet rhythm that guides your day with ease. There's something powerful about this consistency. The human brain is naturally drawn to patterns and predictability. Just like a steady beat holds music together, a reliable routine can help bring emotional and mental stability to your life. Scientifically, routines reduce the mental fatigue that comes from constantly deciding what to do next. That's especially important when you're living alone, because too much unstructured time can lead to restlessness or a loss of focus. When you have a basic rhythm, whether it's watering your plants at the same time each morning, stretching gently before lunch, or ending your evening with a favorite TV show, you spend less time wondering what to do, and more time simply being present. And in that presence, you begin to feel rooted, more in control, and more connected to yourself. Rather than drifting through your hours feeling uncertain or disconnected, you begin to move through the day with a quiet, steady sense of purpose. Each small, intentional act becomes a gentle reminder that your time still carries value, and that every choice you make adds shape and meaning to your life. It's important to remember that having a routine doesn't mean every moment has to be productive, scheduled, or driven by goals. In fact, some of the most nourishing and healing routines are the ones that include deliberate moments of rest, reflection, and joy. Taking a peaceful nap in the afternoon under a cozy blanket, spending an hour tending to plants in your garden, or simply sitting back and listening to a podcast that brings you comfort. These acts are just as vital as paying bills or running errands. The goal isn't to stuff your calendar to avoid feeling empty. It's to treat your time as something worthy of care and attention. By making conscious decisions about how you spend your day, you begin to reclaim a deep sense of agency over your life. And that sense of direction can be powerful, especially in later years when external demands may lessen and social roles feel more distant. Designing your own routine, choosing when to wake up, what to prioritize, who to connect with, restores a feeling of control. Imagine starting your day by writing down something you're grateful for, scheduling a simple call with a friend, or dedicating your evening to a hobby you love. These actions are small, but they affirm something profound: your ability to shape your daily experience. And that ownership matters. It can lift your mood, strengthen your self-worth, and help build resilience in a stage of life when society sometimes forgets to remind you that you still matter. Research in positive psychology consistently shows that older adults who follow consistent daily habits tend to report greater life satisfaction. These routines don't just fill time. They act as emotional scaffolding, holding you steady in moments of uncertainty. Take Harold, for example, a 76-year-old widower who lives alone in a modest apartment. Each morning, without fail, he sits at his small kitchen table with a well-worn notebook and begins his day by writing down three. Each morning, Harold writes down three simple things. The first is one task, something small but productive, like folding the laundry or calling his daughter. The second is one treat, perhaps listening to his favorite jazz record or savoring a slice of cake. And the third is one thought, a personal reflection, a meaningful quote, or a memory that still lingers in his heart. This small, thoughtful ritual takes less than 5 minutes, yet it has become the heartbeat of his daily routine. It gives him something to look forward to, a reason to begin the day with a sense of purpose. And when night comes, he reflects on those three entries, often with a sense of calm and quiet fulfillment. Over time, this habit has shifted his days from feeling repetitive to feeling intentional. Each day now stands apart, distinct, meaningful, and worth remembering. For many people living alone, the greatest challenge isn't simply passing time. It's the quiet fear that their days no longer hold meaning, that life has slipped into a shadow of what it once was. But this is exactly where a consistent routine makes all the difference. Even the most modest of rituals acts as a subtle yet powerful reminder that your time matters, that your life has form, rhythm, and worth. Creating a daily structure is not about proving anything to the outside world. It's a personal declaration, an internal voice quietly saying, "I am here, and my time is valuable." You don't need applause, a packed calendar, or a room full of people to feel like your life is taking shape. All you really need is a little rhythm, a touch of intention, and the commitment to keep showing up for yourself one day at a time.
Now, let's move on to guide number 2, emotional self-reliance. As you grow older, especially if you're living alone, there's one skill that quietly rises in importance: emotional self-reliance. It's the ability to be your own emotional support, to stand steady within yourself when the world outside grows quiet. When you live alone, there will inevitably be long stretches of stillness. Moments when silence isn't just peaceful, it's overwhelming. Maybe it's that soft click of the door closing after a trip to the grocery store, followed by the realization that no one is there to greet you. Or maybe it's a sudden urge to share a memory, a laugh, or even a complaint, only to find that no one is immediately there to hear it. These are the moments when emotional self-reliance becomes not just helpful, but essential. It's not about isolating yourself or pretending you no longer need human connection. Rather, it's about learning how to gently hold your own emotions, without judgment, without suppression, like a steady hand on your own shoulder. Whether you're experiencing joy, sorrow, gratitude, or uncertainty, emotional self-reliance is about giving yourself the same compassion and patience you would offer a beloved friend. For many older adults, this was not a skill that was widely taught or encouraged during their younger years. Previous generations often emphasized strength through silence or busyness. Keep moving, stay productive, push through. There wasn't much room to sit quietly with your feelings or nurture your emotional needs. But this phase of life offers a new kind of space, an invitation to slow down and choose a softer approach. It's a chance to tune in more deeply, to listen to what your heart is really saying, and to care for yourself with kindness instead of criticism. Emotional self-reliance begins not with grand actions, but with a subtle shift in how you treat your inner world. At the core of this is how you speak to yourself. That inner voice, the one that narrates your thoughts and reflects on your day, can either support you or quietly undermine your peace. Do you catch yourself getting frustrated over small slip-ups, like forgetting a name or knocking over a glass of water? Do your thoughts dwell on old regrets, replaying scenes you wish had ended differently? This is where emotional self-reliance begins, with awareness of that internal dialogue and a willingness to change its tone. Start by noticing your self-talk and gently soften it. Instead of harsh judgment, try offering yourself reassurance. Say to yourself, "I'm doing the best I can and that's enough," or "It's okay to feel sad today. I'll move through it." These phrases might feel unfamiliar or even strange at first, but with time, they become a source of comfort, an emotional anchor you can rely on. Think of emotional self-reliance as becoming your own safe harbor. In earlier chapters of life, you may have found comfort in a partner's voice, a friend's laughter, or a sibling's encouragement. But as the years go by, those voices may grow quieter, through distance, through loss, or through life's inevitable changes. And yet, you are not left without support. You can become that steady presence for yourself. By noticing what you feel, honoring it without shame, and responding with compassion, you step into the role that others may have once filled for you. And in doing so, you discover a new kind of strength, the quiet, enduring kind that rises from within. With time and gentle patience, you begin to cultivate an inner resilience, one that doesn't rely on praise, approval, or constant companionship. This doesn't mean you stop valuing the people in your life or the joy that connection can bring. Instead, it means your sense of peace is no longer dependent on their immediate presence. You find stability within, even when others aren't nearby. Consider Carol, an 81-year-old woman who lives alone after the passing of her husband. Every evening, she sits quietly with a small journal, engaging in what she calls her evening check-in. It's a simple ritual, but one that brings deep emotional grounding. Some nights, she fills an entire page, reflecting on something she felt during the day, a memory that unexpectedly returned, or a moment of pride, like trying a new recipe and getting it just right. On other nights, her entry is brief yet powerful, like, "Dinner felt lonely, but I'm glad I set the table and ate something warm." Though no one sees these pages but her, this small, consistent practice has become a quiet declaration. "I see you. Your feelings matter." For Carol, it's a gentle way to affirm her experience, to stay emotionally present, and to remind herself that even in solitude, she is not invisible. Another meaningful tool in the journey of emotional self-reliance is the practice of mindful breathing and stillness. When emotions rise, whether it's a wave of grief, a rush of frustration, or even an unexpected burst of joy, taking just a few moments to breathe slowly and deeply can help center you. It's simple, but incredibly grounding. Each slow breath sends a message to your nervous system. You're safe. This quiet signal helps calm your body's stress response and gives your mind the space to process emotions rather than react to them. Over time, this gentle pause becomes a dependable method for navigating emotional waves, from the sting of an old memory to the silent heaviness of a lonely evening. It's also vital to release the shame or judgment that often surrounds loneliness. Feeling lonely doesn't mean you've failed at life or relationships. It's not a sign that your days lack meaning or that something is wrong with you. It's a deeply human experience, something everyone, no matter their age or background, encounters at one point or another. Solitude, at its core, can become a powerful reminder of your ongoing capacity to connect. Emotional self-reliance doesn't mean pushing loneliness away or pretending it doesn't exist. Instead, it encourages you to sit with it briefly, acknowledge it without judgment, and then gently guide yourself toward comfort. Maybe that comfort comes from playing a song that always lifts your spirits, writing your thoughts into a journal, or simply sitting quietly with the understanding that this feeling, however heavy, will eventually pass. It's a bit like steering a small boat through rough waters. You can't stop the waves, but you can keep your hands steady on the rudder, knowing that calmer seas lie ahead. Now, if you're still watching this video and finding meaning in these reflections, I'd love to know. Drop a comment below with the number 1. It lets me know you're still here, walking through this journey with me. And thank you, sincerely, for spending your valuable time with this message. Let's move into guide number 3, finding joy in small sensory pleasures. When living alone, especially in the later stages of life, happiness often doesn't come from grand events or monumental changes. Instead, it quietly blooms in the soft sensory details that surround you every day. These seemingly ordinary experiences can carry extraordinary emotional weight. Think of the golden warmth of morning sunlight falling across your hands, the inviting smell of soup gently bubbling on the stove, or the distant hum of a beloved tune playing in the background. These moments don't shout for attention, but when you truly notice them, they begin to shape your day in subtle, grounding ways. They offer presence. They remind you that joy, however small, is still accessible. Your senses, sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste, are not just biological functions. They are living gateways to the world around you. When you're not surrounded by constant chatter or interruptions, you have a rare opportunity to slow down and really tune into those details. A warm cup of tea in your favorite ceramic mug becomes more than just a drink. It becomes a ritual, a moment of comfort, of mindfulness, of care. That single cup can center you, even in the quietest of days. The smallest things, when noticed, can carry surprising emotional weight. Take something as simple as the curve of a mug handle, fitting just right in your hand, or the way a wool blanket rests gently across your knees during an evening movie. These aren't just functional objects. They're quiet gestures of care, soft touches that wrap you in warmth and familiarity, often without a word spoken. When you begin to truly notice these sensory moments, they start to form a comforting rhythm throughout your day. They weave together a personal tapestry of ease, subtle delight, and inner calm. These little interactions with your surroundings might seem minor, but their effect is deeply grounding. They don't just lift your spirits, they gently root you in the present. Psychologically, engaging your senses brings your attention fully into the now, a practice often known as mindfulness. And for many older adults living alone, that present moment awareness can feel like a lifeline. It offers an escape from replaying old memories or worrying about what tomorrow might bring. Picture it. You feel a cool breeze passing through an open window, or your eyes catch the vibrant colors of a flower blooming outside your kitchen. In that brief pause, your mind finds clarity, the noise softens, and something inside you settles. Neuroscience backs this up too. Research shows that sensory engagement activates areas of the brain connected to calmness and pleasure. It helps reduce stress and promotes well-being. When you're alone, these sensory experiences can become a form of companionship, a reminder that even in solitude, you're still connected to the world around you. To make this a daily practice, consider adding a few small sensory rituals to your routine. Before dinner, light a scented candle, not just for the smell, but for the atmosphere it brings, turning a simple meal into something that feels cared for. Slip on a pair of socks fresh from the dryer, noticing the warmth and softness against your skin. Play a song from your youth, not as background noise, but as an invitation to remember. Maybe even sway a little. Sing softly. Let the melody carry you to a moment you cherished. None of these things require much effort or expense. They aren't luxuries. They're small, powerful gifts, offered to yourself, by yourself, reminding you that joy doesn't need an audience to exist. These small rituals serve as quiet reminders that you are worthy of beauty, comfort, and joy, even in life's simplest moments. Consider Ralph, an 84-year-old retiree living alone in a cozy cottage. Every afternoon, he settles into his favorite chair by the kitchen window and peels a single orange. He doesn't rush. He eats it slowly, savoring each segment one at a time. As the citrusy scent fills the room, it brings back memories of his childhood, specifically his mother, who always kept a bowl of oranges on their kitchen table. The bright flavor, both sweet and slightly tart, stirs something inside him. It brings a quiet smile to his face, transporting him to long summer days from years past. For Ralph, this daily ritual is far more than just a snack. It's a gentle bridge to memory, a small act of mindfulness, and an unspoken expression of gratitude. In the unhurried rhythm of that moment, he finds a deep and lasting sense of peace. Isn't it fascinating how something so ordinary can hold such quiet power? Touch, too, is an especially powerful sensory anchor, perhaps even more so when you're living alone. As human beings, we're wired for physical contact. And in the absence of daily interactions with others, this need doesn't disappear, it simply shifts. But you can still meet it with intention. You might gently run your hand across the smooth grain of a wooden chair, or wrap yourself in a soft, familiar robe. Simply clasping your own hands while resting can offer a surprising sense of reassurance. These quiet gestures, though subtle, tell your body, "I'm here. You're safe." And if you have a pet, you already know how soothing their presence can be. Stroking a dog's fur or scratching behind a cat's ears isn't just comforting, it's proven to reduce stress. Studies have shown that petting animals lowers cortisol levels and increases oxytocin, the hormone linked to feelings of calm and connection. Even the way you care for yourself physically, rubbing lotion into your hands, soaking in a warm bath, or brushing your hair slowly, can become moments of nurturing. These aren't acts of indulgence. They're quiet affirmations of care. They remind your body that it's still loved and deserving of attention. And let's not forget taste, another powerful yet often overlooked pathway to joy. When living alone, it's easy to fall into patterns of convenience, reheating leftovers or making do with something quick. But preparing a meal you truly enjoy, even if it's just for you, can transform an ordinary evening into something memorable. Even the act of eating, when done with care, becomes an expression of self-respect. Something as simple as sitting at the table, using a proper plate, and taking time to truly taste your food can transform a routine meal into a moment of intentional presence. Whether it's a crusty piece of bread spread with butter or a square of dark chocolate melting slowly on your tongue, these experiences are not about indulgence. They're about honoring your right to enjoy the small delights life still offers. There's a quiet power in choosing to savor rather than rush. These small moments of culinary pleasure don't require luxury. They simply ask for your attention, and in return, they nourish more than just your body. They affirm your worth, your dignity, and your right to joy, no matter what season of life you're in. What all these sensory experiences share is a profound truth. Even in its quietest moments, your life is still full of richness and depth. When you choose to engage your senses, you form a subtle but meaningful bond with the world around you. It becomes a kind of companionship, not loud or overwhelming, but steady and reassuring. Think about it. The rustling of leaves outside your window, the gentle weight of a book resting in your hands, the clean scent of freshly folded laundry, or the flickering light of a fireplace on your television screen. These aren't just background details. They're quiet invitations to notice, to feel, to be alive. They take solitude, which can sometimes feel like something to endure, and transform it into something sacred. A space not of lack, but of presence. A space where the beauty of simply being becomes visible again. For those living alone, tuning into small sensory pleasures is a gentle but powerful way to reclaim joy. It's a reminder that happiness doesn't require an audience, a crowd, or a special occasion. It already lives in the warmth of a scarf, the sweetness of a ripe peach, or the soft rhythm of rain tapping against your roof. When you begin to truly savor these small wonders, you start to weave them together like a golden thread through your everyday life. The result is a life that feels not only manageable, but vibrant, personal, meaningful, deeply, unmistakably your own. If you're still here, still listening, and finding these insights helpful, I'd love to know. Please leave a comment with the number 2. It lets me know you're continuing this journey with me. Thank you for staying with me on this journey. Your time is deeply appreciated. Now, let's explore guide number 4, connecting indirectly with the world around you. Living alone, especially in the later stages of life, can sometimes feel like drifting just outside the edges of the world. The absence of nearby family or close friends, paired with the quiet rhythm of solitary days, may leave you wondering if you've somehow slipped into the background. The silence can feel heavy, and the lack of daily interaction may cause you to feel invisible. But here's a powerful truth. Meaningful connection doesn't always require deep, ongoing relationships or long, heart-to-heart conversations. In fact, some of the most impactful connections are found in the smallest gestures, in quiet, intentional acts that gently remind you you're still part of something greater, still woven into the shared human experience. It's easy to feel overlooked when you're alone. Maybe you walk through the grocery store and notice that no one meets your eyes, or you sit quietly on a park bench as families pass by, absorbed in their own conversations. These moments can sting, making you feel like a bystander in a world that keeps moving without you. But being seen doesn't always mean someone knows your name or understands your full story. Sometimes, being acknowledged, truly acknowledged, happens in a fleeting moment. A subtle nod from a stranger, a smile exchanged with someone crossing your path, a brief word of kindness that lingers just long enough to remind you that you exist in relation to others. These small but deliberate interactions can help restore a sense of presence, of being noticed. They don't have to be grand gestures. Start simple. The next time you step outside for a walk, try making eye contact with someone passing by. Offer a gentle good morning or a warm smile. You may not have a conversation. You may never see them again. And that's okay, because even these micro moments of human contact carry meaning. They are small threads that reconnect you, however briefly, to the living fabric of the world. They say in their quiet way, "I'm here, and I see you too." Each of these small moments of connection sends out subtle ripples, quiet but meaningful, that reinforce your place in the shared experience of being human. Over time, they build upon one another, forming a soft but steady web of belonging. And that web helps hold you up when solitude starts to feel too heavy. Another beautiful way to nurture that sense of connection is by contributing to the world around you, even in ways that don't require recognition or acknowledgement. It's not about being seen. It's about participating, about offering something of yourself without expecting anything in return. Take Dennis, a 79-year-old man I once spoke with. Every week, he visits his local library and slips handwritten notes into the pages of random books. The notes are short, just a sentence or two. Sometimes it's, "This story brought me joy. May it do the same for you." Other times it's something like, "You're not alone. Keep going." Dennis doesn't know who will read these notes. He may never meet the people who find them. But that's not the point. For him, the act itself is what matters. It gives his days purpose. It makes him feel like he's part of something invisible yet deeply real, a quiet network of encouragement, passing from hand to hand, heart to heart. What Dennis shows us is this: meaningful connection doesn't always come from direct contact or conversation. Sometimes it's about reaching out in silence, about giving generously with no expectation of reply. It's not about receiving thanks. It's about knowing you've added something kind to the world. And there are other ways too. Volunteering, especially in ways that match your energy and personality, can help restore a sense of belonging. You don't need to commit to anything huge or exhausting. Even the simplest contributions carry weight. Some older adults find joy in reading stories to children over the phone. Others knit blankets for hospital patients or write letters to people receiving end-of-life care. These acts don't require you to be outgoing or full of energy. They just ask for your presence, for your willingness to show up in your own quiet, authentic way. By offering even a small part of yourself, your time, your voice, your care, you remind yourself that you still have something meaningful to give. And in giving, you don't just uplift others. You reconnect with the world in a way that feels real, affirming, and deeply human. It's a gentle but powerful way of stepping back into the stream of life, without needing to shout, without needing applause, just by being present, by caring, and by choosing to act. Technology, too, can serve as a quiet bridge to connection, even if the rapid pace of social media doesn't appeal to you. There are spaces online that move more gently, discussion groups, thoughtful forums, and even the comment sections beneath certain articles or videos. In those places, you might discover others in similar seasons of life, sharing reflections, worries, or joys that mirror your own. Reading those words, or adding your own, can stir a sense of kinship. It reminds you that you're not alone in your thoughts or experiences. And if participating publicly feels too exposed, you can still connect in smaller, more personal ways. Write a birthday card to a neighbor, send a kind email to a distant family member, leave a thoughtful review for a small local business that brightened your day. These may seem like minor gestures, but they carry quiet power. Each one creates a ripple, subtly weaving your presence into the lives of others. And in return, the world begins to feel a bit warmer. Not through loud celebration, but through a gentle, steady acknowledgement that says, "You matter. You are here." The key is the direction of your energy. Solitude has a tendency to pull us inward, to draw the shades, shut the door, and retreat into ourselves. But every time you choose to reach outward, even in small, quiet ways, you're affirming your belonging in the human story. You're saying, yes, I may live alone, but I'm not disconnected. And life often has a way of answering that statement. Think back to the last time someone held the door open for you, helped you carry something heavy, or simply offered a kind word in passing. Do you remember that small moment of warmth? That brief spark of connection? You have the ability to create those moments too. And every time you do, you strengthen your own bond to the world around you. Each of these small acts becomes another thread in the larger tapestry of kindness, linking you, quietly and meaningfully, to others. Even if those connections are unseen, they are still deeply felt. There's also peace in simply sharing space. You don't need to strike up conversations or make your presence known to feel connected. Just being in a cafe filled with quiet conversation, strolling slowly through a museum, or tending a plot in a community garden allows your spirit to tune in to the rhythm of life. You become part of the world's movement again, not a spectator, but a participant. Even if no one speaks your name, even if you're sitting alone, these moments remind you that you're still here, still engaged in the heartbeat of life, still immersed in its beauty. And here's a truth worth holding close. The world needs people like you. It needs those who pay attention to the subtle things, the light spilling through a window, the wind brushing through trees, the sound of laughter drifting through a park. There is a quiet kind of strength in kindness, in smiling without expecting anything in return, in showing up with steadiness and grace, even when no one's watching. Your very presence, your way of noticing the world, of moving gently through it, adds something meaningful to the lives around you. Even when you're alone in your home, you're not without impact. Every act of attention you offer, every moment of care you take, and every small gesture of kindness you extend sends out echoes. You might not always see the ripple, but it's there. These little moments become invisible threads, weaving you into the fabric of the world, subtle yet strong. You don't have to wait for someone else to reach out first. You have the power to begin the wave yourself. One simple, sincere ripple at a time can lead to something greater than you imagined. And it starts with the smallest act of intention. If you're still watching this video and have found something meaningful in what we've shared so far, please leave a comment with the number 3. It lets me know that you're still here with me, and I truly appreciate your presence. Now, let's continue with guide number 5, keeping your mind curious and learning. As the busy pace of earlier years slows down, and you begin to experience longer stretches of quiet time, one of the most powerful ways to nurture happiness is by keeping your mind alive and engaged, not just occupied, not merely distracted, but fully awake to curiosity, to discovery, to wonder. In the stillness that often comes with solitude, your mind can become your most faithful companion. It can spark joy, fuel purpose, and open new windows to the world you're still very much a part of. There's a common myth that as we age, we stop growing intellectually, that the brain slows down and learning belongs to the past. But science and lived experience say otherwise. Your brain, even in your later years, remains capable of tremendous change. It can form new neural pathways, absorb new knowledge, and embrace fresh ideas. This remarkable capacity is called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt, evolve, and keep growing, no matter your age. Isn't that a hopeful thought? That your mind is not only still working, but still ready to explore, still hungry for insight. This ability to learn, to grow, to discover, it doesn't fade with age. In fact, many older adults who describe themselves as the most content and fulfilled are often the ones who have remained mentally open. They continue to welcome new thoughts, perspectives, and experiences, even as the external noise of life quiets down. Learning doesn't have to involve dramatic steps or formal schooling. You don't need to enroll in a university course or take on a massive new challenge. It's not about proving anything. Instead, it's about gently inviting something new into your mind, something that stirs curiosity and brings quiet satisfaction. It could be as simple as picking up a book from a genre you've never explored before, or watching a documentary about a topic you've never given much thought to. Trying a new recipe, especially one with unfamiliar ingredients, can also open new doors. Even something as casual as listening to a podcast while folding laundry or sweeping the floor can plant unexpected seeds, sparking new ideas, new ways of thinking. Take Frank, for example, an 82-year-old man who only recently discovered a passion for painting. Until last year, he had never picked up a paintbrush in his life. But one afternoon, as he passed by a small art supply store, something caught his attention. He felt a pull, subtle but strong, to try something unfamiliar. So he walked in, bought a beginner's watercolor set, and went home to experiment. Frank is the first to say his paintings won't be featured in a gallery. But to him, that doesn't matter. Each time he dips his brush into the water and touches color to paper, he feels something awaken. He's learning, not just about art, but about how to be patient with himself, how to embrace mistakes, and how to enjoy a process without needing to master it. For Frank, painting has become more than a hobby. It's a daily ritual that expands his world. It brings a richness to his days, a sense of creative aliveness, and a deep connection to the moment he's in. That's the magic of curiosity. When you nurture it, life begins to feel bigger again. It stops shrinking around you, and instead starts opening up. You begin noticing more color, more detail, more possibility. And perhaps you even begin to notice more of yourself. Sometimes, a new idea connects unexpectedly with something you've always carried inside you. A line from a book might stir a memory you thought you'd forgotten. A quiet discovery, something small, might gently shift the way you see the world. This type of mental engagement doesn't just stimulate the mind, it gives it direction. It offers your thoughts a path, a place to go, and when your mind is in motion, even slowly, even softly, it becomes more resistant to the weight of loneliness, boredom, or hopelessness. You begin to notice that you're not stuck. You're moving forward, and that movement brings energy and light. Learning also strengthens your relationship with yourself. When you explore new ideas or develop new skills, you send a message inward, one that says, I still have questions, I still care, I still want to grow. That simple affirmation holds incredible power, especially in a time of life when society may begin to underestimate your potential or overlook your voice. By remaining curious, you claim your vitality. You prove to yourself, and perhaps to others, that you're still very much evolving. You're not finished. You're unfolding. And this exploration of knowledge doesn't have to be formal or academic. It doesn't require a classroom or a strict schedule. Often, the richest learning comes through ordinary activities, approached with attention and care. Take gardening, for example. Each season becomes a teacher, showing you how the soil reacts to too much rain, how certain plants flourish while others struggle, how patience is rewarded. Watching birds from your window might slowly become a quiet study in movement, instinct, and ritual. Their daily patterns a small lesson in presence and simplicity. Exploring a new spiritual practice, whether it's prayer, meditation, or another tradition, can deepen your inner world and bring new perspective to familiar truths. And even something as personal as writing down your memories, stories from your childhood, moments of triumph or heartbreak, can become a form of learning. Often, as you write, you begin to see patterns, draw meaning, and uncover insights you didn't know were there. In other words, your own life becomes a source of wisdom, and you become your own teacher. Beyond the deep personal fulfillment this brings, there are also real benefits to your health. Studies show that older adults who keep their minds active, whether by reading, solving puzzles, or simply engaging with new information, experience improved cognitive function and greater emotional well-being. Older adults who regularly engage in puzzles, learn new skills, or try something unfamiliar tend to show stronger memory, sharper cognitive ability, and greater emotional resilience. But it's not about solving advanced math problems or memorizing long lists of facts. It's about remaining engaged with the world, staying curious, open to surprise, and willing to let something new spark a quiet joy. Think back to the last time you learned something that made you pause and smile with wonder. Maybe it came from a book, a passing story from a friend, or even a lesson wrapped inside a mistake. That flicker of curiosity, that "I didn't know that" moment, isn't just about gaining information. It's what keeps your spirit feeling young, alive, and connected. The more you nurture those moments, the more energy and meaning begin to return. Within the quiet of your own home, you have a choice. Will you let your mind settle into stillness, or will you invite it to stretch, wander, and explore? One path brings peace, personal growth, and renewed purpose. The other path, though easier, can lead to stagnation, disconnection, and a slow fading of joy. Often, the difference lies in a simple decision: to pick up that book, to press play on the documentary, or to follow a question that's been tugging at your thoughts. So whether you're solving a puzzle, tracing a map on the wall, or finally writing down a memory that's lingered in your heart for years, let curiosity guide you forward. Not with pressure, not with expectation, but with a soft openness to where it might lead. Because this practice does more than just pass the time. It shapes your life. It adds texture, meaning, and unexpected color to even the quietest days. Happiness in solitude doesn't come from endlessly filling the hours with distractions. It comes from attention, from wonder, from trusting that, even now, new horizons are waiting to be explored. And when you do explore them, you may find that they don't just change how you see the world, they change how you see yourself. As we close this journey through 5 powerful guides to finding happiness in solitude, take a moment to reflect. What truly resonated with you? Was it the idea of crafting a meaningful daily rhythm? Savoring the beauty of small sensory moments? Or perhaps the reminder to keep your mind curious and engaged? Whatever touched your heart, we'd love to hear it. What's one idea from today's video that you plan to bring into your life? Share it in the comments below, because this community grows stronger through your stories, your insight, and your voice. And if you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful content to uplift and inspire. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Wishing you health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Aging Blueprint for more meaningful insights like these. We'll see you in the next video.